Hello students, so we are meeting after a very long time, Standard 10 English Literature. Today we are going to take up Act 3 Scene 2 in the series of online classes. If you remember in class 9, we have done up to Act 3 Scene 1. And being one of the longest scenes, Act 3 Scene 2 is one of the longest scenes of this particular play. So we are going to divide this particular scene, Act 3 Scene 2, into 3 parts. Like today in this episode, you will have the first part of Act 3 Scene 2. In the next episode, in part 2, you will have that, and in the final episode, we will complete this particular scene. Since it is very long and very difficult to understand, as well as from the angle of exam, this scene is very important. So if you remember, 2 more suitors, they had the guts, they had the courage to choose the caskets. Prince of Morocco, he came there and he chose the gold casket and he lost. Then came Prince of Aragon and silver casket was chosen by him, and that was also a wrong casket. Here, Bassanio is there to make the selection. Act 3 Scene 2, Bassanio comes to Belmont. If you remember, he doesn't come alone here. Graciano also is with him. So a little background of this particular scene. After the unsuccessful trials of Morocco and Aragon, as I have told that Morocco and Aragon, both of them, they failed in the lottery of casket. This scene shows Bassanio triumphing in the lottery of the caskets. Bassanio comes and he wins the lottery of casket. You can easily guess which casket is chosen by him. Portia is ecstatic, means she is too much happy and feels the excessive blessing and joy that the occasion has brought. She feels like the happiness, the joy, the blessing, the amount of blessing, the amount of happiness she was receiving, it would prove to be more than necessary for her, means she would not be able to bear it. There is further joy with Graciano and Nerissa revealing their love and wish to marry. Not only Bassanio and Portia will be married just after this particular scene, but also Graciano, who falls in love with Nerissa, proposes to her, and this new couple also gets married at the same time. But so everything was going on very smoothly, everything was going so joyfully, and then the entry of 3 characters. Celedeo, who comes from Venice, and he brings a letter from the side of Antonio, and he's not alone, he comes along with Lorenzo and Jessica. His arrival, he disrupts the happy atmosphere of Belmont. His arrival and the news delivered by him, it takes away the happiness which existed at that time in Belmont, a ceremonial happiness that vanishes. Portia offers all help and calls for the marriage ceremony to be performed at once so that Bassanio can leave for Venice without further delay. Portia, she is very intelligent and she understands the gravity of the situation. And immediately she puts a suggestion to get married as soon as possible, and both Bassanio and Graciano, they would leave for Venice to save Antonio from the clutches of Shylock, his arch enemy. So I hope that you have the textbook with you. We begin with the text, Scene 2. It takes place in Belmont, a room in Portia's house. The characters present here are first Bassanio, second Portia, third Graciano, next is Nerissa and the servants. Now, Portia, she is excited to see Bassanio there as well as she is nervous, because we already have seen that she loved Bassanio, and she is nervous because what if Bassanio chooses the wrong casket, just like Aragon and Morocco, and as per the conditions related to the lottery of caskets, if Bassanio lost, he would have to leave immediately. So that is why she is nervous and she wants to delay the purpose for a day or 2. So we start with Portia. I beg you, tarry, pause a day or 2 before you hazard. She tells Bassanio to stay away from the lottery of casket for a day or 2. And since choosing the casket, it was a hazard, it was a risk. For means because in choosing wrong, I lose your company, because if Bassanio makes the wrong selection, he will have to leave immediately. And Portia doesn't want that. She wanted to spend some more time with Bassanio. Therefore, forbear a while. Forbear means wait. And then she tries to divert the topic by saying, there is something tells me, but it is not love, I would not lose you. She indirectly, we can say indirectly, she is trying to propose to Bassanio, and she is saying, she's telling to Bassanio not to think this as love. She does not want to lose him. And then she contrasts her own statement by saying, and you know yourself, hate counsels not in such a quality. And then she gives hints to Bassanio that if a person hates someone, he or she would not give this kind of advice. Counsel means advice. But lest you should not understand me well, it is possible that Bassanio would not take up the hint, would not grasp the indication given by Portia to him. And yet a maiden hath no tongue but thought, but she cannot help, because she is a woman, and she has a lot of thoughts in her mind, but she cannot express everything. And it is a common phenomenon that women, they keep a lot of things in the mind. I would detain you here for some month or two. What she wants, that she would keep Bassanio away from selection of caskets for 1 month or 2 before you venture for me. Venture means risk. Before Bassanio takes the risk for her. You understand what is the risk? Choosing the casket, it was the risk. I could teach you how to choose right. She even tells Bassanio that she could teach him how to she could train him, she could guide him how to make the right selection. But then I am forsworn. Means she had sworn in front of her dying father that she wouldn't tell or help anyone before making the selection. So will I never be. So she will not be able to help Bassanio in any case. So may you miss me. So in that case, it may be possible that Bassanio would choose a wrong one. But if you do, you will make me wish a sin. And if it happens, there will be a sin committed by Portia. Now, what is the sin? That I had been forsworn. She would think in her mind that she should have broken her promise, broken her oath to her father, made to her father, and she should have helped Bassanio. This thought, which would occur in the mind of Portia, if Bassanio would lose, this thought is a sin. Further, she says, wish you your eyes, they have overlooked me and divided me. She tells Bassanio to lower his eyes, not to look at her continuously, because the gaze of Bassanio has divided Portia into 2. And now listen to the wordplay here. She says that Bassanio's eyes have divided her into 2 parts. One part is with Portia and the other part is gone to Bassanio. But further she says that the part which should have been with Portia, that part is also gone to Bassanio. Means she has mentally completely surrendered herself to Bassanio. So everything that now belongs to Bassanio. So all yours. All these naughty times would pass between the owners and the rights. She says that it is the fault of time. Bassanio is her owner now. Bassanio has his complete authority over her, but he cannot enjoy it. And so, though yours, not yours. And that is why, in another sense, in spite of being of Bassanio, being under an influence of Bassanio, she is not there. Prove it so, let fortune go to hell for it, not I. It is not the mistake of Portia, but it is the mistake of luck, fortune. I speak too long, but it is to please the time. She says that she is speaking so much so that to stall the time, S-T-A-L-L, stall the time, to delay the time. To act it and to draw it out at length to stay you from election. She wanted to spend some more time with Bassanio and to draw it out in length and to make Bassanio stay away from the election. But for Bassanio here, the situation for Bassanio is do or die, either this side or that side. He wanted to know the result of lottery, so he is very eager to choose. He says, let me choose, but as I am, I live upon the rack. His condition was like he was sitting on a rack. Rack means torture chair. In Elizabethan period, if any criminal committed any heinous crime, so the person would be made to sit on an iron chair made of iron, and his legs and hands, they would be pulled apart, tied with ropes or chains, and they would be pulled apart to torture him. So Bassanio's condition is like he's being tortured. Now how he's being tortured, since he, just like I said, that his condition was like do or die. Portia finds a new point here to stall Bassanio from selections. She says, upon the rack, Bassanio, then confess what reason there is mingled with your love. She doesn't take that meaning which Bassanio was trying to say, but she takes the literal meaning and she says that probably in the love of Bassanio there is some disloyalty, treason, and that is why Bassanio is talking about rack. Bassanio says none but that ugly treason of mistrust. Actually, Bassanio, he has the ugly feeling of doubt, and that is why he is afraid that he would not win over his love, Portia. There may be as well be amity and life between snow and fire as treason and my love. He says that it is possible that between fire and snow there can be friendship. If you understand that it is not possible at all, if fire and snow, they could be friends, because if both of the elements come closer, the snow would melt. So it is not possible. But Bassanio is trying to say that it is possible, but it is not possible for Bassanio to mix disloyalty in his love towards Portia. Portia says, I means yes, but I fail to speak upon the rack where men enforced to speak anything. But Portia says that Bassanio is speaking like that since he is sitting on the torture chair, rack, and where men they speak anything to save themselves from the torture. Bassanio says, promise me life and I will confess the truth. Bassanio says to promise to let him live and he will tell her the truth. Portia says, well then, alright then, confess. Here she wanted to listen to the confession of Bassanio's love towards her. She says, confess and live. Bassanio says, confess and love had been the very sum of my confession. Actually, to confess and to love were the very things of his confession was going to be about. And he says, oh happy torment, here, when my torturer doth teach me answer for deliverance. He says that it is a very strange time when the torturer is telling the person whom he is torturing to tell what to speak. And then again he comes back to his main point, let me to my fortune and to the caskets. Portia says curtains are drawn away from the caskets. All the three caskets where they were kept, it was covered with curtains, so now the curtains are pulled off. Portia says, away then means go ahead then. I am locked in one of them means her portrait. One of the casket contained her portrait. If you do love me, you will find me out. If Bassanio's love is true, he will find that casket which contains her portrait, her picture. Nerissa and the rest stand on aloof. She instructs rest of the people who were present there to stand aside and let music sound while he doth make his choice. And there is a servant of Portia whose name is Stefano, Stephan. Later he will come in the play. He is the musician. She instructs him to play some music while Bassanio goes to make the selection. Then if he loses, he makes a swan-like hand fading in music. When Bassanio goes to make the selection, the pitch of the music, the scale of the music, it will be high. But if Bassanio loses the pitch, the tone, the scale will go down and it would fade. There is a reference used here of swan. It was believed in Elizabethan time that the swan, actually which has no voice at all, sings only once just before it dies. It was believed, and that is why Portia uses the reference of swan. If Bassanio if he chooses the wrong casket, the music will eventually slowly fade away. That the comparison may stand more proper, my eye shall be the stream and watery deathbed for him, and Portia would cry so much that the swan means Bassanio would drown in it. But it is also possible he may win. He can also win. What is music then? And if Bassanio wins, which kind of music will be played at that time? There will be two kinds of music. Then music is even as the flourish when two subjects bow to a new crowned monarch. The first kind of music will be like the ceremonial music that plays when people, subjects, bow to a newly crowned king. The crowning ceremony of a new king takes place, so it is a chance to celebrate joy, happiness. So the music played at that time is ceremonial of celebration. So happy, cheerful music. That is the first kind of music, according to Portia, to be played if Bassanio wins. And the second kind of music Such it is as those dulcet sounds in break-up day that creep into the dreamy bridegroom's ear. In England, still there is a tradition on the day of marriage, the bride and groom outside their window, a sweet kind of music early in the morning is displayed to wake them up and to summon them, S-U-M-M-O, and summon them to church to get married. Another sweet kind of music. So these two kind of music would be played if Bassanio wins. Now he goes with no less presence but with much more love than young Alcides. There is another reference here. Alcides, another name for Hercules, the mightiest god on earth. Actually, what had happened here, that the princess of Troy, her name was Hesione, H-E-S-I-O-N-E. She was abducted by the sea monster to get sacrificed. Sea monster wanted Hesione to sacrifice Hesione. So her father, Hesione's father, made the proclamation that whoever would save Hesione from that fate, that condition, he would give her his best horses as reward. Hercules or Alcides went there to save Hesione, but he went there not out of love, but because of reward, the best horses of the king of Troy. Why Portia is using this reference? She is trying to say that Bassanio is not going for reward, he is going to make the selection for love, not like Alcides or Hercules. She compares herself, I stand for sacrifice. She compares herself with Hesione. The rest aloof are the Dardanian wives. She compared Bassanio with Alcides, but not for reward, but for love. She compared herself, Portia compares herself with Hesione, the princess to be sacrificed, and rest all the people present there. She compared them with Dardanian wives. The meaning of Dardanian wives was the Trojan women when Hercules was going to save Hesione from sea monster. These people, they stood beside the path, and all the women, they had tear-stained faces. Tear-stained faces. So that is the meaning of the Dardanian wives. And then she says, go Hercules, means go Bassanio, live thou, I live. If he wins, she would be alive. With much more dismay, I view the fight than thou makest the fray. Fray means fight. She compared Bassanio with Hercules, and she says that he is going to fight. He, as much as he might be nervous, she is much more afraid, scared, nervous than him. So there is a song played there while Bassanio goes to make the selection. And then Bassanio starts speaking about the three caskets. You have to keep in mind that here he only talks about point-wise about the deceptive appearance, or means always, there is a proverb in English, all that glitters is not gold. He perfectly follows that point, and he only talks about the deceptive, the wrong, the showy outward appearance, and there are multiple points here. Bassanio says, so may the outward shows be least themselves. First point, he says that the outward appearance does not show or hardly shows what is the inside. Second point, the world is still deceived with ornament. Most of the people in the world, they still believe that what is shown to them or what is outside, it is the true one, and they are deceived. Third point. In law, what please so tainted and corrupt, but being seasoned with a gracious voice, obscures the show of evil. He uses a reference to the courts of law, where there is a very corrupt, a very heinous crime, but the lawyer who is fighting in favor of that particular criminal, the lawyer is seasoned, means very experienced, and with a gracious voice means a very impactful voice, a very effective kind of voice, and that is why with his experience and with his impactful, gracious voice, he covers up the heinousness, the ugliness of that crime, and just covers it. Next point. In religion, what damned error but some sober brow will bless it and approve it with the text. He says that if something very wrong, according to the religion, it is one of the greatest sins, but a sober brow means a saintly looking person would use any quotation from Bible and justify that this act, this heinous act, was actually not a sin. Means the ugliness can be covered with some biblical quotes. Next. There is no why so simple but assume some mark of virtue on his outward parts. It is always like from outside you will find some sign of what is there inside, some kind of indication of what is there inside. Next point. How many cowards whose hearts are all false as stairs of sand were yet upon their chins the bed of Hercules and frowning Mars? Bassanio says that many cowards are there. Cowards, you understand, those who run away from any kind of problem. If you remember Morocco, white blood and dark red blood, it decided that how much brave the person is in Elizabethan age. He said, Bassanio is trying to say that many cowards, in their heart there is not a bit of courage. Their heart is like stairs of sand. Stairs of sand. If you just touch it, if you step on it, and the whole staircase would be collapsed. Coward people are like that, but yet upon their chins the beds of Hercules, but they keep the bed of Hercules. Hercules was the mightiest god, Greek god. They would make the facial expression like Hercules and angry expression like Mars, M-A-R-S, Mars. A small references here. Mars was the Roman god of war, portrayed typically with an angry look. So the coward people who are inside, there is not a bit of courage. They have their blood is almost as white as milk, but on the face they would have the beard of Hercules and angry, frowning expression of Mars. And these assume but whalers' excrement to render them redoubted. These people, they purposely do such kind of, they purposely maintain such kind of outward appearance so that nobody would doubt them, that they are cowards. Next point, look on beauty and you shall see it is purchased by the weight. If you understand, if you consider beauty, you will realize that it is the miracle of cosmetics which is available in the market, which is sold in the market according to weight, which therein works the miracle in nature, and by using cosmetics, it works like a miracle, making the lightest that wear most of it. And that person who wears most of the cosmetics, their character is the lightest. So are those crisp, snaky golden locks which make such wanton gambles with the wind. Bassanio says further that if you see snaky golden hair, long hair, waving in the wind, you should understand that it is not the real hair, but it is borrowed from a dead head. Actually, in Elizabethan time, if any person died, their hair was shaved and taken out, and later wigs were made out of it and sold in the market. So Bassanio is trying to say that if somebody sees long wanton golden hair waving, he should understand that the legs are not actual, but they are wigs, and the wig, the hair there, it is borrowed from a dead head, which is lying at that time, particularly in the grave. Thus, ornament is but the guide shown to a most dangerous sea. Bassanio next says that all the dangerous seas, which are very risky to go into, but the sea beach, the side of the sea, it would be so much attractive, means the outward appearance is deceptive. Next point, as the beauteous scarf veiling an Indian beauty, a beautiful scarf can cover the dark woman's skin, especially here. Indian means West Indian, dark skin. The Elizabethan ideal of beauty was blonde with a fair skin. So a beautiful scarf can cover up a woman's dark skin, especially West Indian. In a word, the seeming truth which cunning times put on to entrap the wisest. So in short, Bassanio tries to say that these kind of seeming truth means everything appears to be the truth, but these are just traps used by cunning people to trap common people, wise people. Therefore, thou gaudy cold, hard food for Midas. I think you know the story of King Midas. He was granted a wish by God that whatever he would touch, it would turn into gold. So he sat to eat, and whatever he was touching, he was trying to eat, everything was turning into gold, and he was not able to eat them. So Bassanio here is talking to the gold casket, and he calls it as a hard food for Midas that he could not eat. I will none of thee know, none of thee thou pale and common drudge between man and man. And then he talks to the first, he called the golden casket. It was the hard food for Midas which he could not eat. And then he talks to the silver casket. He says it is pale and commonly used. Actually, you should keep this in mind that the upper class people in the Elizabethan time, they used ducats, gold coins, and the lower class people, they used silver coins. The common people, they used silver coins. So he compares a silver casket, which is used in the form of coin by the common people, and it passes from one hand to another. But thou, meagre lead, meagre means ordinary, unworthy lead, which rather threatenest than dost promise art. The lead casket, what differentiates it from the rest of the two caskets, that it doesn't make any promise, rather it threatens. Thy paleness moves me much more than eloquence. He tells that the simplicity, the dullness, the ordinary look of the lead casket attracted him more than the shining, gaudy and promising caskets of gold and silver. And here choose I, joy be the consequence, and he chooses the lead casket, and he wishes that the result be one of his happiness. So till here only, it is in part 1 of Act 3, Scene 2.